Hello everyone, I'm Rodney Sidloski. I'm the founder of Help International and also of the new corporation Green Research and Discovery Corporation. I'm here to talk today about what we call the two-penny tree, also known as the floating tree and plant production system. So first of all, what is it? I'm the lead researcher, by the way, and discoverer of the floating tree and plant production system. And what is it? It's a system of growing trees and plants on open water bodies. It can be done also indoors or in greenhouses, but in its most simple form on open water bodies. Now, some of the merits of this, we call it the two-penny tree program. It's a system in which the cost from the time let's say you can use a variety of genetic material, but from the day you put cuttings into planting containments, into styrofoam blocks, and float them on an open water body, from that day until the time of harvest, it's between 0 and 2 cents per tree in that critical 90 days. Often does not require any monitoring. You could take a holiday to Mexico for 3 months and come back from the day the cuttings were put in, and the trees would be ready for harvest. We have tested a giant range of deciduous trees across Canada and also tropical trees with great success. Willows and poplars are by far the easiest in the northern hemisphere using this system and grow the fastest. In the southern hemisphere, our research so far says anything in the palm family acts almost like a willow does here. So by far the easiest to proliferate using this system. Some of the merits of this system, you can produce the same high quality tree seedlings that would be produced, container root seedlings that you'd produce in a conventional greenhouse, but you can do it without greenhouse. You can eliminate all irrigation technology. You need no requirement of artificial fertilizers or nutrient feeding, no top dressing or fungicides to address funguses that are common in greenhouses, and without the requirement, in most cases, of fertilizer. This system can also live store trees and other perennial plants, not only for months, but even for several years. We've tested it of floating trees in even subarctic climates like Canada for up to 5 years. And when winter comes, they're frozen solid in ice up to 24 inches thick. And in the spring, they wake up and grow. We don't lose a single tree during that winter storage system in ice. In fact, you might be surprised to know this, but it's warmer in ice than it is outside in prevailing temperatures that can get down to -40 below. Another very special merit of this system is it uses an unbelievably 93% less water per plant than conventional greenhouses. And what is that value? The value in it, we tested indoors and outdoors, and we discovered that the water used per plant from the time the cutting is put in to the time it's field ready, we used a 90-day cycle, was 4 milliliters per plant, per tree, per day, which is again about 1/15 or 90, the more accurate, 93% less water than conventional greenhouses utilize per plant to provide the same high quality container root plant. I now want to move on to the 1 week ago. 1 week ago we launched this system in Canada for the first time, and the first news story went out about this. It's a system that I've patented in Canada 2 years ago, but it's patent pending for several years before we finally got our patent 2 years ago. And also, we've now got worldwide patent rights for this, and that's the reason why we're launching it at this time. And the first media that took a hold of this was Global News Regina, Global TV, and they did 4 2-minute segments looking at different merits of the program. But one of them they post on Facebook by itself, and it's gone absolutely viral. It's moving in the direction of 1 million views, and as of today, I believe it's 7,000 shares. And there's literally thousands and thousands of comments. I've hired someone just to ledger those stuff, and many inquiries from just over 20 countries actually, and that we're trying to find a way of how we can respond to all the inquiries. It is as the discoverer of this particular process and technology and apparatus, it's my objective to see this system in every country of the world. I did this research with the objective of finding a 2-penny tree. In other words, what I call the 1%, the current cost, let's say in our government tree production centers, less than 1% the current cost of producing trees. I spent half my life in Africa, in my professional life in Africa, where I saw the devastating effects of deforestation that changed rainfall, that changed where big rivers or small rivers or intermittent streams, and lake levels are forever recessed, and rainy season have become totally disrupted for agriculture. So I believed we had to come up with a system of not looking for more money to reforest the planet, but instead produce trees so inexpensively that anyone on the planet who wants to access trees for planting can do so for free or for extremely low cost. So that was the objective that pushed this. And the first global news story, it's gone viral, it's unbelievable. I believe that the first 90% of the next 100 partners internationally will have come out of this news story and the inquiries that are coming in from around the world. And one of the most, apart from the United States, which has the most international inquiries, Australia is probably second, but it's across the entire globe. Mongolia, UK, many inquiries from the UK, but as vast as from every continent. Now I'd like to make a policy statement. This is a patented technology, and there's a reason for it. I've had many innovations in my life, and some of them were borrowed inappropriately with other people's names put on them, and I've become less naive, and so I found the requirement to patent this technology. But so what does that mean, and how are we going to roll this out? My first policy statement I'd like to make is there is no bar to entry of using this technology. There shouldn't be a single person, anyone that wants to try out this technology, you're going to have my blessing, but we do want it in a orderly manner. And let me tell you why that is. But first of all, let me say the three forms of utilizing this system. This very, very profoundly simple, low-cost system. If an individual wants to try it out, and I've got thousands of indicators of thousands of people already that are saying, I want to try out this. Well, I will give you a free, we're going to call it a free license, and we're going to call you a research associate, but don't get scared by the term. All it means is, in exchange for you, and it might still cost $100 for you, we're still coming up with a term for that, maybe $100 to help international or charity. In exchange, I'll send you a couple floating blocks that could hold a couple hundred trees with instruction and options of how you can very simply use this system. Set it up for about $5 and produce a couple hundred trees at a time, or plants of your choice. But in exchange, we'd like you to contribute to worldwide research by doing something very, very simple. After 90 days of planting, we'd like you to fill out a 3-minute form and take a special kind of photograph according to our instructions, and it's the photograph that's the most valuable, where we can make a lot of conclusions about that plant, and your name will go in any publications that come out of that. Help will, or myself as the discoverer will still be treated as the lead researcher. You'll be treated like an associate researcher just by having spent 15 minutes at sending a simple report and photograph in, and that way we'll have documented the testing of additional varieties of plants. So, and you don't have to be a researcher. It can be a 10-year-old child can do it. Secondly, so the first is for individuals. The second, and by the way, for the individual, you're not allowed to sell the plants. If you're getting free license, you're not going to be allowed to sell the plants. You can use them for your own use or give them away for free. Secondly, small non-for-profits. If you're a small non-for-profit entity, we'll definitely give you a free license to produce trees and other plants. But again, as long as you give us the feedback on any plants that you test, and as long as you do not sell them, you must give them away for free or use them internally in your own system. The third area is commercial. For small family-run operations, I'd call it to 100 to 500,000 trees. 100,000 to 500,000 sounds big. Normally, you'd need a couple $1 million building, $1 million of technology. In our system, it's so profoundly inexpensive. So that's called a family-run type of operation that one person could easily run. Well, easily, forget a person, a quarter of a person could easily run 100,000 to 500,000 tree operation, and we'll be providing licensing, selling licensing for that. And lastly, the corporate level, the 1 million trees to 10 million tree level, we'll have licensing to sell for that. We call that maybe the corporate, the company level a tree producer. Okay, so that's my policy statement. No one is barred from using this system. Otherwise, I would be contradicting the whole point of me having come up with what we call the two-penny tree production system. Lastly, how can you get me to your country? I would love to, we want to launch internationally. We would love to be the direct interface with the introduction of this system to your country. And it's far easier than you think. And unless you're loaded with money, we're not loaded with money. If you're loaded with money, you can even pay my airfare. If you're not, I'll pay my own airfare, but you must do the following. Invite me to your country. Align yourself with a university or non-for-profit agency or government agency to officially invite me to your country, and secondly, provide a venue that can, for 200 people or more, an auditorium, a community hall. For 200 people or more, you provide the venue, provide coffee and donuts, and I'll come and do a half to 1 day conference workshop, and together we'll come up with an invitation list. We suggest we would invite 100 agencies, government, universities, research institutes, farm groups, greenhouse groups, and general interested, and leave half the chairs for the general public that would be interested in this. And that's all we require. That's the model we used to launch in Ghana last year with absolutely amazing results. We invited 100 agencies, 35 agencies came, and of the 35 agencies that came, 19 became official research partners of Help International to test tropical plants. And that was less than a year ago, and already we've got an agreement. The government wants to do a pilot, a very small pilot of the first million tree production system, where the government is agreeing to that will help set up the first 10 small entities that'll produce 100,000 trees each, and the government will give guaranteed market. So I don't have to go into great detail. If you want me to your country, please note our contacts here that you can contact me. And we're setting up mostly, possibly in August of 2019, the month of August available to travel, but otherwise particularly November, December, January, February, and March of next winter for launching. We'll be assigning 1 month to each country or country region of the world, and we want to see this in probably introduced to 20 countries by the end of the winter of 2019-2020. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great day.